Hey everybody, it's Christina at Ziedman Development, and today I want to show you a couple of things that may be helpful for you to think about as you're preparing to export data out of Razor's Edge and into Importacular. So just like with anything else in Razor's Edge, how you code your data is definitely going to affect how you work in a query and how you work in an export and what data you want to bring over. So you may find as you get started with this process that you need to do some data cleanup in order to have some consistency. If you look at my screen here, that's probably going to be the case with this particular record. So my Razor's Edge has been set up to allow multiple entries of the same phone type. Now, some organizations do want that and some do not. The challenge we have when we're trying to just isolate one email address is that this does make it a bit harder to know which email might be the most current unless we're using something like a primary checkbox or a date changed. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of things here. Show you on James Bond's record what we've got, and then I'm going to show you in my export how we can make some adjustments even with the situation we have here. So I do want you to notice that we have nothing here. Now, if I knew that this email address is no longer valid and I click that do not contact, that will be helpful in our export. So I point that out to you just so you can see that as an option. The other thing I do want to mention is the primary is an option as well. So what if we want to make sure we always use this email? Checking the primary box it does give you the option to sort by that, and you have the chance to isolate that email address even if both have the same type. The other thing that we can work with is that date last changed. So that gives you an option to say which email address was changed last. However, things like marking that do not contact could affect my date last changed. So you do want to be a little bit cautious with that. The other field we could work with if we needed to might be our comments. So if there's something that you need to know about that email address and you put a note there, but that's a little bit harder to maintain on a consistent basis because it is a text box. So I'm going to go ahead and leave James Bond's record here as it is. We're going to save and close, and I'm going to take you to the export that I've made for James. Now, generally, I would expect when you're doing your export for Salsa Engage, you're going to work with a query, but today I am just working with that one record for James Bond. And on my output, you can see I've selected a few different fields that I want to add into Salsa Engage. There are other options if you have additional custom fields. I definitely would recommend that you add your address, but for the purpose of what we're doing today, I've just added some basic constituent information and a phone number. So you can see when we pull up our phone number, I've got some criteria set here. First of all, I have limited each constituent to one phone number. This is because email addresses are considered phone numbers in Razor's Edge, and we can only put one email address into Salsa Engage. The other thing I want you to notice is that I have only put email addresses in this column on the right. That's because I don't want to accidentally put over a cell phone or a business phone or anything like that in this field. I want to keep it on email addresses. I did choose to exclude phone numbers marked as do not contact. And that was a really intentional choice because we did mark that one email address on James Bond's record as do not contact. And if you're using that do not contact field, that's a great way to make sure that you exclude email addresses that you've already been told constituents don't want to use. The last thing I do want to point out is we have some options here with these with the order by. So we do have the comment field. So if you use that free text field, you can sort by that. We could sort by the last changed. We can sort by the is primary. So if I wanted to have my primary email address always at the top, if I check the is primary and descending, anything with a yes value is going to show up at the top. So you can work with this in order to help you find what you need and to get this to isolate down to just that one email address. I hope that this has been helpful for you as you're building your exports, just to kind of think through ways to work with those email addresses and ways to use export in Razor's Edge in order to isolate just the information that you want. Thanks for joining me and have a great day.